So you see next time with the fingers thing, I'm not trying to start it as a catchphrase. I did it once, I liked how it looked in frame, and now I do it every time. Everybody's got a sign off, and apparently that's now mine. Any suggestions for a new sign off, let me know. Keep it clean. Try not to make me look too stupid. By the way, for anyone who noticed, it doesn't look as if they're going to fall on me this week, because the last few videos I've been filming, my tripod actually doesn't, where the camera connects is actually crooked, and I've been keeping my tripod extended full, and so it tilts this way. So it makes it look as if these are all about to collapse on me. I'm about to get dark towered. But, nope. Figured out what was wrong. Fixed it. Hi everybody, this is BigPapaGrump from the Board of Doom, and I'm going to be recapping the May 8th edition of Monday Night Raw and the May 9th edition of SmackDown Live. I'm going to try to do it a little faster than last time, so I'm going to try to get this video down to 10 minutes. We'll see how I do. Alright, the show opened up. Dean Ambrose came out, was doing his, Kurt Angle called me thing, said that he's the general manager for the night. And then The Miz came out and said, well, Stephanie McMahon notified him that he's co-general manager, and shenanigans. I don't really mind when they do these little comedy bits. It's it's to pass the time. It really felt, usually the WWE kind of goes a little bit more out for their UK shows. This one felt like they kind of just phoned it in. Then Braun Strowman came out. He talked some more trash on Roman Reigns, and then mentioned that he was going to challenge Lesnar, which I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like. Then Kalisto came out. Yeah, that's pretty much where the segment went. So then Dean Ambrose made a match between Strowman and Kalisto. Miz had a funny line about ending Kalisto's career. That was pretty funny. And then he made a match. Then Dean made a match between The Miz and Finn Balor. That match was pretty cool. I mean, it was typical Monday night, not main event type match. So, it followed the formula. The Miz declared himself the winner after he pushed Balor into the ref, called it disqualification. Dean came out, restarted the match. Finn won immediately. It was an entertaining, but again, just okay segment. There was nothing wrong with any of the in-ring stuff. It just was. There was a bit between Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss backstage where, Nia was questioning her words from the week before. Alexa Bliss playing the I'm going to hide behind you instead of let you challenge me kind of mode. That was neat. And then Alexa Bliss wrestled Mickie James. Bayley was out there, and I'm pretty sure the only reason Bayley was out there was so that the crowd could sing the Bayley song at her. And then Nia Jax came down after Alexa won the match. That she kind of ran off from Bayley, and then Nia Jax beat up Mickie James. Basically it. So then there was the Strowman-Kalisto match, which actually never really happened. He refused to take on Kalisto because of his injured shoulder, which is apparently a real-life, legit injury. So he's going to be out a little bit while. Apparently the Lesnar match that was supposed to be a great balls of fire was, is kind of in jeopardy for that. But we're not 100% sure when Strowman's going to be back, because it depends on how it heals. Anyways, so in order to write him off the show, they had Roman Reigns come down and kind of beat him up and attack the shoulder, which is such a heel move. But, hey, whatever. Again, the segment was just there to have an excuse to get rid of Strowman for a few weeks. So then you had the tag team turmoil match. There was a little bit of a pep talk segment between Goldust and R-Truth beforehand. And then you had Sheamus and Cesaro started out the match against Enzo and Big Cass. They eliminated Enzo and Big Cass. Then out came Rhino and Heath Slater. They eliminated Rhino and Heath Slater. Then out came the Club, and they eliminated the Club before finally dispatching the Golden Truth. They didn't really look like Sheamus and Cesaro. That is, didn't really look like heels. I mean, they did some heelish stuff, but the crowd was still kind of behind them. They put them in a position where they were kind of the underdogs because they kept lasting throughout the whole match, and that's usually a role they reserve for faces. But this time they gave them the heel treatment with the face treatment at the same time, so I'm not sure where they were going with that. It still ended up being a decent story for them, leading to another match against the Hardys. where there's actually going to be some real animosity, and that should actually pay dividends in the long run. But, you know, then you had a really long promo by Samoa Joe on Seth Rollins, which then led to a match between Samoa Joe and Seth Rollins. You know, the match, again, in ring was fine. The exposed turnbuckle disqualification and the intensity and all that. Samoa Joe loses the match by DQ. Seth Rollins gains more babyface momentum, and Samoa Joe still looks strong, even though it's like, you know, I lost by DQ. Whoa, because he's not about the win-loss. He's about, you know, the job at hand and trying to take out Seth Rollins. He was accomplishing that. So it ended up being a decent segment. When it comes to actually appreciating some of the stuff that's going on, I kind of give the London crowd a lot of credit. They tend to be very, very markish in their enthusiasm, which is pretty cool. They're always loud with the chants and all that. So when TJ Perkins versus Jack Gallagher's coming up, you've got the hometown, you know, Gallagher, and then you've got TJP, who's well respected around the world. Even the London crowd did not care. That's how badly the WWE has handled the cruiserweights, to the point that the London crowd does not care. You know, Perkins wins, holding the tights, and then he continued to beat up on Gallagher. Austin Aries came out to make the save. You know, that's basically where we are with that. Also, another one of WWE's indictments is their handling of Alicia Fox. Alicia Fox is not the best female wrestler on the roster, but Alicia Fox is very talented. She's very good at heelish character work, and she's kind of underutilized and underrated. And nothing shows more than how they treat her whenever she actually does wrestle. She got beat by Sasha Banks quick. Like, it was over before it started. In retaliation for Ambrose putting him in a match against Finn Balor, The Miz then put Ambrose in a match against Bray Wyatt and joined the commentary team. Wyatt ended up winning. It was a typical Bray Wyatt, typical Dean Ambrose match where, you know, they got all their little spots in and whatnot. Bray Wyatt won off of Sister Abigail off a distraction, and, you know, you're building the Ambrose Miz feud. I get that. You're not really helping Wyatt by not having him win a little cleaner, or at least win more convincingly. So we get to SmackDown, and you've got Randy Orton opening the show. Randy Orton does not give compelling promos. Randy Orton does not give exciting promos. He hasn't in a long time. So when he comes out and he starts attributing his loss to Bray Wyatt at Payback to Jinder Mahal's interference, when you have Jinder Mahal come down and start running his mouth, which I'm fine with. He's the heel. He's supposed to do that. I don't know if there was something wrong with Jinder's voice or what, or if there was something wrong with the sound mix, but you could barely hear Jinder Mahal, and he didn't really say anything interesting. I mean, he's just spewing the same stuff over and over again. And that gets old, especially with somebody who's not as strong on the mic with Jinder Mahal. Like, Bray Wyatt can get away with rambling on and on because he can just take the exact same missive and just reword it. You know, AJ Styles can do the same thing. You know, all these guys, Cena says the same thing over and over again, but, you know, you change it up and make it more exciting. Jinder Mahal just basically reads off the same cue cards every week, and it just did not make anything interesting. So then you had Kevin Owens come out, and things started to get a little bit more interesting. He started cutting his promo about wanting, you know, to, after he handles his business, he wants to go after the World Championship. Then you had AJ Styles come out. Then you had Baron Corbin come out. And then Sami Zayn came out to beat up Baron Corbin. Basically, from the moment Owens came out, it got more and more interesting. A little brawl broke out, and the Singh brothers rescued Jinder Mahal, and then that's basically where it went. So then you had a segment with the ladies on SmackDown, where Natalya ended up beating Becky Lynch in a match, but there was a whole lot of chicanery going on with Carmella and Natalya and Ellsworth and Tamina. And then you had the faces come out with Charlotte and Naomi and Becky Lynch. It was a relatively forgettable promo until later, where there was a backstage segment after the faces kind of got their butts kicked a bit, where you've got Becky Lynch trying to bring, you know, Charlotte and Naomi onto the same page with her. I'm kind of hoping that this leads to a Becky Lynch heel turn. Because I think it would just be brilliant if she spends all this time trying to put them together just to tear it apart. And even, I don't even talk about aligning with the welcoming committee. I'm just talking about going out on her own and just being like, the last kicker, but take that to an extreme. That would be kind of cool. And in the repeating from 1,000 times we've seen before match, Eric Rowan defeated Luke Harper. These guys, you can't give these guys a serious push if you just keep having them fight each other all the time, especially Harper. You got to break Harper away from wrestling anything related to Wyatt. Then Dolph Ziggler called out Shinsuke. Dolph looked down and defeated and all this other stuff, and he called out Nakamura and had him, cut out the theatrics and all this other stuff, and they suggested a fight right then and there. They're obviously going to wrestle a Backlash. And he tried to sneak attack Shinsuke again, and Shinsuke caught him. All of these, Shinsuke catching Ziggler before any of his sneak attacks can do any damage. If that continues, then he's going to have to lose. Ziggler's going to have to beat him at Backlash. If Ziggler actually gets the better of him between now and Backlash, then Shinsuke's probably going to win. But if Shinsuke continues to look this strong all the time, they're almost going to have him lose, just to then build some sort of tension. So you had the Fashion Police segment, which I do enjoy. This week's wasn't as funny as the week before. Fandango looking like Sherlock Holmes was kind of funny, and some of their interaction, they are very good together. They've got very good comedic chemistry. The material wasn't as good. Then they wrestled the Ascension, and they beat the Ascension, because how could they lose to the Ascension after getting the #1 contender spot? I actually kind of want to see what they do if they get the titles. If they beat the Usos for the titles, I'm actually going to mark it down right now. I'm going to be actively rooting for Breezango to win the titles, because I just kind of want to see. I understand that putting a title on a comedy act can go either way, but if it's done right, then it can be very entertaining. Look, the New Day had the tag titles on Raw forever. And then, but in the past you had Santino, who actually had championships. And so the comedy act doesn't always work, but I have a feeling in this case it actually would if done right. If they let them do their thing a bit. So then you had the main event, which was a 6-man tag match, because why wouldn't it be? Between Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and Sami Zayn against Baron Corbin, Kevin Owens, and Jinder Mahal. And, again, 6-man tag match with all stars, so they all have to have their moments. So then you had the main event, which was a 6-man tag match between Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and Sami Zayn against Kevin Owens, Baron Corbin, and Jinder Mahal. Typical, 6-man tag match with all stars in it, so everybody had to have their moments. Skip to the end. Jinder Mahal and Randy Orton are legal men. Randy Orton hits an RKO on Kevin Owens, and then gets up and turns right into Jinder Mahal, hitting him with the Cobra Clutch Slam and getting the clean win. Having a heel win clean is smart booking. It makes Jinder Mahal look opportunistic, but it doesn't make it look like he can't beat Orton, because he just did beat Orton clean. And so that actually works in the WWE's favor as far as storytelling go. I know it's storytelling 101 right here, but they don't do it enough. They didn't do it enough with Owens when he was Universal Champ, and then he turns around and does it now. They do it with Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss wins opportunistically, but doesn't always have to cheat. That's smart heel booking. So, but there's your summary of the 2 days in London. Average on overall, it's like there was a lot of just kind of coasting on what they always do stuff. They weren't really doing anything special. I thought they were going to have a little bit more excitement for the UK crowd, but I don't know. So I've been Big Papa Grump from the Board of Doom, and that has been your recap of this week's Raw and Smackdown. See you later.